Kindness is one of the first virtues we are taught to value. Share, be polite, be accommodating, don't make others uncomfortable. From an early age, approval is linked to compliance. The quieter you are, the easier you are. The easier you are, the more you are praised. But the world you were praised in as a child is not the world you must survive in as an adult. As time passes, many people notice something unsettling. The more agreeable they become, the less seriously they are taken. The more understanding they are, the more others demand. The more patient they are, the more they're tested. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, kindness begins to feel like a weakness. This is not because kindness is inherently flawed. It's because kindness without limits teaches others something dangerous, that there is no cost to crossing you. Machiavelli understood this long before psychology had a name for it. He observed that human beings do not behave according to ideals, but incentives. They do not test boundaries because they are malicious. They test boundaries because they are uncertain. They want to know where the line is, and if no line appears, they assume none exists. A person who gives endlessly without resistance is not admired, they are consumed. At first, the taking is subtle, a favor here, a small request there, an assumption of availability, an expectation of patience. Each moment feels insignificant on its own, but together they form a pattern, and patterns define relationships far more than intentions ever will. The mistake many people make is believing that being liked guarantees respect. It does not. Being liked makes you comfortable to be around. Being respected makes people careful around you. Comfort invites familiarity. Familiarity invites disregard. Respect, on the other hand, introduces distance, not coldness, but clarity. It forces others to consider you before acting. It creates a pause, and that pause is where power lives. This is why people often speak over the endlessly kind, but listen closely to the calmly firm. Why requests are ignored until they are accompanied by limits. Why someone who rarely says no is valued less than someone who does so sparingly but decisively. Boundaries change the psychological dynamic. They signal that your time is finite, that your attention is selective, that your presence is not guaranteed. Scarcity increases value. This is true in economics, and it is true in human relationships. Unlimited access devalues the source. Many people resist this idea because it feels harsh. They fear that boundaries will make them unlikable, selfish, or distant. But Machiavelli observed that fear of rejection is often what traps people in submission. They trade authority for approval, not realizing that approval is fleeting, while authority endures. Those who are afraid to lose connection often lose themselves instead. What makes boundaries powerful is not aggression, it is restraint. Anger is loud, it leaks insecurity, it asks others to change. Boundaries are quiet. They do not ask, they inform. A calm refusal communicates more strength than an emotional confrontation ever could. It says, I have already decided where I stand. There is no negotiation, no performance, no justification, just clarity. And clarity unsettles people. Because clarity removes ambiguity, it removes opportunity, it removes leverage. This is why people often push hardest against those who begin to set boundaries, not because the boundaries are wrong, but because the old dynamic no longer benefits them. They are losing access they had grown accustomed to, and loss is far more motivating than gain. Machiavelli warned that men are quicker to offend those who allow it than those who defend themselves, not with violence, but with limits, because limits force recognition. Without boundaries, your kindness becomes predictable, and predictability is exploitable. People learn exactly how much they can take, how late they can call, how much they can ask, and how often they can inconvenience you without consequence. Once that map is drawn, they follow it instinctively. This does not require ill intent. Most harm is habitual, not malicious, but the result is the same. Over time, resentment builds, not just in you, but in them. They may not articulate it, but imbalance creates discomfort. Receiving endlessly without reciprocation creates guilt, and guilt often turns into contempt. It is easier to devalue someone than to acknowledge that you are taking too much from them. This is why excessive generosity can paradoxically reduce respect. It removes the opportunity for others to give back. It traps them in the role of taker. Balanced relationships require resistance. Boundaries restore equilibrium. They allow others to step forward rather than lean back. They invite mutual respect instead of silent exploitation. The most respected individuals are rarely the most accommodating. They are the most consistent. Consistency signals stability. Stability signals authority. When people know exactly what you tolerate and what you do not, they relax. They may not like the limits, but they trust them. And trust is built not on endless flexibility, but on reliable structure. This is why leaders who are fair but firm inspire more loyalty than those who are endlessly forgiving. Forgiveness without consequence erodes standards. Standards create culture. Culture creates order. Machiavelli understood that order is not maintained through affection alone. It is maintained through predictability and consequence. When people know where the boundaries are, they adapt. When they don't, chaos fills the gap. Self-respect is the foundation of all boundaries. Without it, rules feel performative. With it, rules feel natural. People can sense when boundaries come from fear rather than conviction. A shaky limit invites challenge. A calm one discourages it. The difference lies not in the words used, but the certainty behind them. Those who master boundaries do not explain themselves excessively. They do not argue their worth. They do not seek validation for their limits. They act as though their time, energy, and presence already have value, because to them they do. And that belief shapes behavior. Machiavelli observed that power often flows to those who need the least from others. Dependence weakens posture. Independence steadies it. When you are not desperate for approval, you can afford to disappoint. And the ability to disappoint without fear is a quiet form of power. This does not mean becoming cold or withdrawn. It means becoming deliberate. Kindness, when chosen rather than compulsive, regains its strength. Generosity, when offered rather than extracted, becomes meaningful again. Boundaries do not eliminate warmth, they protect it. They ensure that what you give is not demanded and what you offer is not assumed. In the end, people do not respect you for how much you sacrifice. They respect you for what you refuse to surrender. Kindness may make you welcome. Boundaries make you valued. And awareness, the kind that sees human nature without illusion, allows you to know when to open your hand and when to close it. That is not cruelty, that is clarity.